The topic of the workshop is, uh, uh, purpose oriented performance. Is it not?
Purpose driven performance. Yes, Maharaj.
Purpose driven performance. See, I was just thinking, this morning, how Swamiji's life is an exemplary, really example of such a life. Because, his purpose, even at a very young age, he discovered, was to find out whether really there was God. That was the purpose which drove him to perform. So that took him to various places, the great religious leaders of the day. He inquired, he didn't get satisfactory answers. Finally, he came to Sri Ramakrishna. There he got the oral answer. Yes, it is the purpose. It is really God exists. But then, although he heard from him, still he was not 100%, kind of convinced. So he went on trying his utmost at every possible level. He was so driven by that purpose, he did not leave any stone unturned, so to say. Even whatever he heard from Sri Ramakrishna, he did not accept as such. He tested him to the tilt. At every point, he really wanted to know whether what this person says is true, how it is true. In so many, it's a huge, huge journey. So as long as he was alive, he was trying, he was striving. And then he also got glimpses of that during Sri Ramakrishna's life. But Sri Ramakrishna clearly told him that now, for the time being, you have a different purpose. Namely, you have to work for the regeneration of mankind. That is your purpose to start with. Your own personal goal of, finding God or reaching the ultimate, that can wait. But he was not to be deterred even by that. He went after Sri Ramakrishna's Mahasamadhi, he went on a Bharat Parikrama. He met one great yogi, Pavari Baba. Again, he tried to get into the deep state of transcendence where he could really discover the ultimate truth. And then through very, very several mystical experiences, he was kind of uh, stopped for the time being by Sri Ramakrishna because he had a different mission to fulfill on earth. So for the time being, although he was very naturally, very normally drawn towards a deep meditative life, because that was the goal of his life. Through that, he wanted to realize the ultimate truth, the real purpose of life. But then he went to America. He lectured day and night to numerous audiences and so on. He came back. He set up the Ramakrishna Mission. All that was happening. But then, even then, what he had said to discover the moment he came to this earth, that was only kind of remaining, it was simmering within. Then finally, two experiences really gave him a greater glimpse. One was when he went to Amarnath, where he really, he was very, very close to death. And there he realized that it's possible for him to reach the highest goal of life, and that was just at his mere wish. He had only a few more years to live. And then, and when he came to Shir Bhavani, a temple of the Divine Mother, which had been really, destroyed and desecrated by non-believers. So he was, he was a person of tremendous self-will. So he was saying that if I were there, I wouldn't have allowed this to happen. Then again, he got a very mystical experience there, which made him understand that it's nothing. It's all a superior will that is really running the show, manipulating the world, keeping it in order, and so on. And then from then onwards, after his experience at Amarnath and also at Shir Bhavani, slowly, his real purpose was slowly unfolding before him. He was slowly withdrawing from all activities also. All that is a person who was like a cyclone was working, suddenly was slowly withdrawing. And a very beautiful letter written to Joe I'm very fond of this letter, 1st April 1900. I think probably 1st April. It's a remarkable letter for 10th April, I think, where he clearly says that after all, I am that small boy who used to sit with rapt wonder at the feet of the saint of Dakshineswar. Work, doing good are all superimpositions. So he said, I am floating and I am going towards that call. I am hearing that. And slowly he descended into that state of supreme consciousness. He virtually and very literally gave up his body. So, from start to finish, how a person, if you are completely driven by purpose, how one functions, it really is an extraordinary example is Swami Vivekananda. Although even a great force, Sri Ramakrishna was a tremendous spiritual force. He could simply mold and manipulate the mind like anything. Even he had to struggle to contain his thirst for that ultimate knowledge and that ultimate discovery. But he could hold him only for a short period, for about 18, say 1892, 93 to 1901, something like that, 7, 8 years. It was a small interlude. Then again he went back to his original mode, discovered his purpose, and then he realized the highest truth and highest peace and everything he got, really got the highest kind of nirvana. Now what I'm saying, this is the journey of a person whose purpose was completely spiritual. All of us can have different purposes. We can work differently. Largely people think that they have purpose. They're trying to work for profit. They're working for gains, promotions, money, and so on. So they're all okay in existential life. There is a need for all that. But then, unless we really learn to orient our purpose in a way so as to enlarge ourselves, our personality, our vision, our goal, our predilections, our choices, unless we get into that kind of a tendency to expand ourselves, we will never really discover the true purpose of life. Because, thousands of years ago, it has been clearly outlined by the sages and rishis of India. The ultimate purpose of human life or goal is complete freedom. Freedom from every kind of bondage. Anything you say it binds you, that has to be discarded as poison. That's what Swami Vivekananda says. That kind of an highest freedom. So all these are all, more well, comforts, a good life, family, eat good clothes, good food, everything. Yes, these are all very, very temporary, fleeting kind of freedom. It will never last long. But at the same time, we need to take care of all this also. But we should always remember deep within, there is a deeper and higher purpose in our life for which we have come, which is very essential. How to discover that? And one of the ways, or one of the ways of at least progressing in the direction, is to try to expand oneself, so as to include a higher and higher element in our life, in our purpose, rather than just only restricting oneself to myself, myself, myself all the time. The more and more we try to expand, become inclusive, take others also into consideration, our life will become better and better, and thereby uh, uh, that doesn't mean that we'll have to give up everything that is existential and not have anything good and all that. All that can be there. But deep within, we always treasure, there is a deeper purpose, fulfillment that is waiting to be, waiting to be searched for or waiting to be obtained and all that. Then, our life would be more meaningful and peaceful. Otherwise, we see that any amount of wealth, any amount of comforts, they're not really bringing the kind of mental peace and happiness that we are constantly seeking. So obviously all these need to be explored in greater detail, and then only we'll be able to really find the real purpose and meaning of life. And then we'll be driven even more wonderfully towards achieving that. All that we do would become meaningful. That's why people, after spending 10 years, 15 years in the corporate world and very serious positions also, suddenly they find a complete sense of vacuum, and something they feel that they're absolutely directionless. They have nothing to kind of look forward to. Many people end up that way because unless whatever we do in life, unless we always parallelly, deep within, keep within us the idea that there's something else also that remains to be discovered or sought after, our life would never be really fulfilling. Yeah? Thank you. All the best for all of you. Have a wonderful time. It's a very wonderful day today to think of all that, to think of the purpose of life, and to be part of such a workshop itself is a great blessing. So, my sincere wishes and best wishes to all of you.